There's a company that absolutely ruined the United States that just decided to come here to the Dominican Republic. Amazon has been a major contributor to a big problem in the US. And no, it has nothing to do with shutting down local retailers and has everything to do with safety. And as a guy who lives in DR and loves many aspects of life, I'll admit this move scares me. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly what Amazon is doing in DR, what it means for locals here on the ground, what their operation will look like, and this one thing that I can't help but be a little bit afraid of as DR jumps on the Amazon train. Let's dive in. In early September, it was announced that Amazon Air will start flying cargo flights directly into the Dominican Republic. This makes DR Amazon's first Caribbean air cargo hub and the second one in Latin America. The original flight was scheduled to land on September 2nd. Big announcement, but hey, it's island time. It didn't make it until the next day. It's kind of funny, I think, anyway. But now that they've come, they're actually scheduling flights 7 days a week right into the capital city of Santo Domingo. All the inventory coming in is being staged in existing facilities, at least for a while. There's no plans that I've seen about building a new facility. So for now, ports like Jaina, Caucedo, and even Las Americas airports are all being used for operations. And look, I'll voice my concern here in a little bit, but there is a lot of good that comes from this. You're talking jobs and economic opportunity for locals. There's an element of like global validation that DR has become more stable politically and economically. It's become more investable and just even more connected to the rest of the world. I've said it before, DR is in a lane right now. They're in their moment. In general, I'm pretty positive about where I think it will end up for DR. I think it will end up overall positive. Not for everyone, that's never possible, but for most. But that's really up to the country, politicians, the business leaders here to make sure they don't squander this moment. But it's also validation of like the logistical and infrastructure gains the country has made. While there's still a lot of progress to go in a lot of areas, don't get me wrong, this is part of the plan to attract major companies like Amazon to bring jobs and infrastructure into the country. Global trade is a big deal for the Dominican Republic and its future, along with more formal labor, meaning on the books labor. So when Amazon comes in, that's on the books labor. I mean, look, overall, this is just a really positive step for DR as a regional leader and really stepping it up on the global stage. It's a little country, but it's starting to pack a punch economically and internationally, not just in the US, but in South America and many other places. Now, that said, I want to be really clear on exactly what this means and looks like on the ground here in the Dominican Republic. Look, this is not a full-scale consumer rollout of Amazon in the country. It's only cargo and logistics, meaning you're not going to see a bunch of Amazon Prime vans rolling around the country anytime soon. And you don't want to cancel that BM Cargo account, I don't think ever. In fact, I would think that places like BM Cargo would become sort of the last mile delivery if and when Prime gets rolled out broadly in DR. There is some Prime here in terms of if you buy over $49 worth of certain products only, you can skip the delivery fees and have Amazon deliver it to you here in the country, but it still takes 7, 8, 10 days for it to get here. There's a lot of rumor about, oh, Amazon's in DR and they're already delivering Prime, like not so fast. And they're certainly not doing it in 1 or 2 days. Let me show you what it looks like when you actually do get a package here. Hola. No tiene el número, pero para Gruber? Silvia, sí. So I went into the BM Cargo office, but our stuff is at logistics, which means whatever my wife ordered is maybe a little bit more complicated, but here it is. Hola. Aquí por Silvia Gruber, no tiene el número. 7? 9. ¿Sí? I heard that right, 9 packages. The Amazon addiction doesn't go away when you move abroad, folks. Dios mío. All right, I'm gonna need all my hands for this, so let's go home and open this up and I'll tell you the rest of why this scares me. Okay, gracias. Okay, back home, I'm going to open some of these packages, and I also want to explain, while doing so, where my concern lies with Amazon here in DR. Shipping labels with our kids' names on them? Ah, for school. This is a kickstand for a bike? Cool, kickstand. I'd be completely inconsistent in my content if I didn't bring up this point about Amazon coming here. Shared all the good, here's my concern about the bad. Will it impact local retailers? Maybe. In time, it could, especially if it becomes a prime delivery type of environment where you can get a product in 1 or 2 days. And with a logistics hub in Santo Domingo, it does make it likely that even some products today get delivered faster, whatever's in that logistics hub, essentially. But that's not my biggest concern. Look, in the US, we've outsourced everything to Uber Eats, Instacart, and, well, Amazon. That in turn disconnects people from one another. It reduces the in-person interaction and social dynamics that I think are healthy for a society. And truthfully, one of the things I love most about being here. I've said before how while you have to go out and get your products from a BM Cargo, for instance, and as an American who's used to Amazon, that could be a little bit annoying. I actually like the forced interaction of it. You gotta get out, you gotta see people. These yours? So apparently these are from a place called Quince, which you still need to order from a courier like BM Cargo. So this didn't come directly from Amazon, but for my wife. There are many studies that show how isolation is bad for mental health. And bad mental health, I believe, is at the core of the biggest concern that I have with Amazon coming here. And that is the random violence epidemic in the United States. Look, it's a leap to say that Amazon coming here creates this, mass shooting culture. But my fear is that it just degrades a little bit the interpersonal connection that's so central to life here. In time, I do believe that Prime will become pervasive, if that's the word. I think that's the word. Pervasive? Here. It'll be available everywhere. And while it increases efficiency and gives jobs to people, there's also the risk of it disconnecting people from one another over time. Let's open this up. No idea what this is. Ink for the printer. This is ink. We just got a printer, need ink for it. This is a topic we discussed in my DR Inner Circle, which if you want to be part of it, it's a community built on those living or moving or investing or just interested in everything Dominican Republic. We've got some really cool stuff in there like discounted rates with attorneys, connections to one another, Zoom Q&A every week with me, and we're even starting to do local in-person meetups every month. And we'll be providing restaurant discounts to local restaurants soon as well. All that right now for just $9 a month. Cancel anytime. Would love to have you part of the DR Inner Circle. Just click the link below and you're in. What we talk about is that potential downside, but really, in the end, net, I think it's overall a positive. It does bring jobs, regardless of how high paying or low paying people want to say those jobs are. It does bring formal labor, and formal labor and a broader tax base is essential for the Dominican Republic's rise in credit rating and therefore move into a developed economy. And if it goes well, being the first hub in the Caribbean, and they end up building their own facilities and expanding throughout the island, again, I think that's overall a positive, as long as the culture is protected from the isolationist way it is in the US. Whenever we go back to the US, everything needs to be scheduled. Nobody's available. Everybody's inside. I don't want to see that here. Mushroom coffee. Interesting. Apparently not from Amazon either. This is from Everyday Dose. Can we trip on this? What fun is that then? I got one more here. But what I'd love to hear from you down in the comments is, what do you think? Am I being too alarmist? Too worried? Or am I justified in the concern about what this could mean on the downside? Again, overall, I think a net positive. What do you think? Drop a comment down below and ring the bike bell. Or use some bike lights so your kids can be seen at night when they're riding their bikes around here. Let me know what you think. Be sure to subscribe. Every subscribe gives a donation to Second Mile Mission on your behalf by me. And if you're seriously considering moving here, check out this video right here where I gave 11 pieces of expat advice on everything you need to know about life in DR. Appreciate you following along. See you on the next one.